Hey everybody, Derek here. I'm here to bring another video for Fear the Walking Dead. And this video is going to be my review for the fourth episode, which was Not Fade Away. I'm going to give my overall thoughts about it, let you know exactly what happened, and what I think it might mean for next week. Just in case you guys are not caught up with Fear the Walking Dead, this video will contain spoilers. Okay, so overall, tonight I thought the episode was pretty decent. I think that they're doing a pretty decent job of building up to something really great. And, really overall with this season and with the theme of Fear the Walking Dead in general, I feel like it's one of those shows that, when you watch it all together as a whole, I think it's really going to make a great story. And I think you're going to be able to see the buildup of things as it goes along. And some things are just easier and better to watch all at once rather than separate them up into weeks. And that's just, the thing with movies or TV shows in general. And it's all about your preference. I find that Netflix's strategy of releasing all the episodes at once sometimes for some of those shows is an advantage. And sometimes you wonder, if Fear the Walking Dead's episodes were released all at once, if maybe we would feel a little bit better about the show. I think the other thing, too, is that if you focus too much on what The Walking Dead does, and you expect everything from The Walking Dead, then Fear the Walking Dead won't live up to that expectation since it's so early. But I thought that overall, as a whole, I thought the episode was pretty good. I think that they did a good job of building up to things that are going to come later on in the story. So here's what overall happened. It's 9 days later since the events of the dog. And the National Guard has moved in. They fenced off the area. They're providing things for people. They turn the lights back on. And they promise things that are going to be coming along the way. Well, different people are feeling very differently about the National Guard coming in. Travis thinks it's a good thing. He thinks that this is a very good sign that things are starting to get better and that they will get better. When the lights come back on, when the soldiers come in, they're starting to give care to people who are injured or having problems. And he thinks that it's a good thing. But you have other individuals who, don't see that, like Madison, who really is not very comfortable with the presence of the National Guard, noting that her house has really become, something of a refugee center. The whole neighborhood has really pretty much become part of that. And, just the inconsistent results that they're getting. I mean, that's a very tough thing, when you want to know information, when you want to be informed of things as they go along and you don't always get that information, that can be frustrating. And the National Guard really is not divulging a heck of a lot. I mean, they really, speak like a politician would, in a sense, not to stereotype or judge, but, that old saying, you ask a politician a question, you usually don't get a straight answer, yes or no, or this is what's going to happen. And that's really how the National Guard has been talking, saying like, hey, everything's going to be fine. We're doing good stuff. Everything's going to be great. Okay, that's great, buddy, but what are you doing exactly to make it great? Well, the guy who's in charge of the National Guard, I think his name is Moyers, he's really getting on my nerves, quite frankly. I mean, he was really standoffish. He's sarcastic to the point where, it's not even funny. I mean, he as people were, asking him questions, he's like, okay, everybody, hey, let's just behave. You're lucky. Hey, be happy that you are in your home. Now settle down so I don't have to shoot you. And you're like, did you really just mean that, or were you being sarcastic? And really, I don't know. Especially after some of the things that happen later on in the episode. What exactly are they doing with people? I think that's a big question for next week that we really need to find out. Because, when he said that, I thought to myself, are you really kidding, or are you actually dead serious? Like, if I mess with you and do something that you don't like, will you shoot me? I don't know. And I was very startled by that comment in general. So, various different people are dealing with things throughout the episode. some of the smaller storylines. You had Alicia, who she goes to Patrick and Susan's house, the neighbors from the last episode. And if you remember when they went over there, they saw that empty pill bottle on the table. And just as many of us may have suspected, Susan did kill herself. She assumingly overdosed on pills after seeing some of the unfortunate tragedies that occurred on that day. You know, a lot of terrible things that she saw. I really think that she believed that, you know, this was it, that this was the end of the world, that things were going to, you know, take a turn for the worse. And I think that she, you know, went peacefully, you know, in her own terms. You know, so that way she wouldn't have to see what was coming. And she wrote a suicide note to Patrick, which Alicia found and read, and it really made her think about Matt, you know, and thinking about all the things that she has lost. And she looks at her arm and realizes that you know, heart-shaped thing that Matt drew on her was starting to fade, and she takes this like needle or something sharp, and she actually, like, in a sense, tattoos it into her arm to not make her forget, you know, these things. Very interesting. You know, and you really have to wonder exactly what's going through her mind. You know, I think that in some ways it's about holding on to that hope, you know, not letting that kind of thing go. You know, worrying about forgetting about Matt, you know, losing hope for the future, things that they used to hold on to. I think maybe that's a little bit of what that was. You know, that if she was able to now, she would get that tattoo. You know, like if he died, you know, after drawing that, she might go to a tattoo parlor and say, hey, tattoo this symbol onto me, but we really don't have that option right now. So I think that's a lot what that was about. Looking at a couple of other smaller stories, you had Ophelia, who was getting very friendly with one of the members of the National Guard. You know, they were being a little intimate with each other. They were kissing, talking to each other. You know, and it was nice. You know, it was nice to see that, you know, maybe she has found somebody. But on the other hand, you also wonder, is that just to get information? You know, they didn't have like physical intimate relations. All they really did was kiss. She stopped anything further from happening, and you know, he was a respectful gentleman. But you know, you really have to wonder if there are different motives behind that. You know, I mean, when you're stuck in a situation like that, you know, sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get information. And you know, I don't want to necessarily label Ophelia, and I don't want to necessarily, you know, state that there are ill intentions. I don't really think that's the case. But I really have to wonder if, you know, is there really love going on there, or is it really just, you know, she wants to be able to get information, and how do you get information? You get close to the people that would have information about that. So I'll be interested to see if anything more comes of that, or if anything plays out. So we'll have to see what happens. We also deal with various different individuals who are struggling to deal with the apocalypse, either physically or mentally. You know, we had an incident where one of the neighbors, I believe his name was Lou, had a mental breakdown. You know, he locked himself in the bathroom, couldn't come out. And his family asked Travis to go over and talk with him to persuade him to, you know, come out of the bathroom. And, you know, Lou was just really suffering from a terrible breakdown, you know. That the world that was collapsing around him was too much for him to deal with. He didn't know if he could face his family and lie and tell them that everything was going to be okay. He's really lost hope. And Travis had to talk him out of the bathroom. And then later on in the episode, they find out that Lou drove his car away from the neighborhood, which they weren't allowed to drive their vehicles as a result of some of the regulations that the National Guard put down. Travis goes out and finds the car just abandoned, and it is presumed that the National Guard took him to this facility where they were providing health care for people. At least that's the way that they put it. You know, and when Travis tried to question Moyers about it, Moyers just, you know, be like, yeah, well, we got our own problems, you know, you know, he didn't really care. And Travis realized that he wasn't gonna, get the answers that he was looking for. He just gave up, asking about it. We also had Liza, who was helping different patients that were, struggling. She gave some health care to some individuals. I think the guy's name was Hector. She like set up a morphine drip for him because he has some kind of a congenital heart disease. I think it was something like that. And we get introduced to somebody who is an actual doctor. Dr. Exner was introduced in this episode. I believe this is the character that's played by Sandrine Holt, I think. And she comes in and starts to deal with the situation. They start to take these patients to get health care because they go to the house and he's gone the next day, so it's presumed that they took him. And then Liza refers Dr. Exner to Nick because Nick is still going through his withdrawal symptoms from going off of the heroin, and Madison is dealing with that in the episode. She tries to give him a pill of OxyContin. He won't take it. He's like, no, I'm good. I kicked it. I'm fine. Whereas he actually goes over to the neighbor's house and steals some of the morphine. No, he's not over it. And of course, when the doctors check on him, he lies, says he's fine. Nothing is going to happen. And when Madison finds out later what he did, she gave him quite a beating. Let me tell you, because she catches him going through Hector's house looking for his pills, things like that. And Nick's like, "Oh, well, you caught me. What can I say, Mom? It is what it is." And Madison just smacks the living daylights out of him. Literally just, slaps him several times, throws him against a wall, just expressing and venting that anger. And part of it's anger, I think, because she does care about her son and she's done so much for him, yet, he just continues to blow her off, not really respecting the situation and not taking things seriously. That he really doesn't want to kick his addiction, and it's sad. It's sad to see that. But I think that a lot of that also was worry. That Madison is worried about what is going to happen because, I think she really does worry about a lot of things that are going on because she actually goes outside the fence. During the episode, she walks around and she notices a lot of bodies that are laying around, and she notices that many of them are walkers, but she said she noticed some that weren't infected, that they didn't look infected. And, I think that Madison is really worried about, potentially people being killed, and she later has a talk with Daniel Salazar about that. And Daniel recounts to her a story about whenever he was in his native country, that several different people from the village were taken away and they were executed. I think there was some kind of political war, things like that going on. And he looks at it like, well, people do things out of fear. And I think that really is what's going on here. I mean, it's more of dealing with the big overall situation rather than just focusing on little different things. You know what I mean? It's like if there's one person standing in the middle of the road and there's like 50 zombies around, do you really want to shoot all 50 zombies to save one person? Well, the humane answer would be yes, you absolutely should. No question about it. But maybe if you're thinking logically, not putting emotion into it, maybe it's best to just drop a bomb and, get rid of everything. And that might be the worry that they have right now, is that while they've got this area locked down, that's all they want to deal with, and they don't want to help anybody else. And if they see anybody else out there, it's shoot first, ask questions later. And that's kind of sad that it's come to that, but that really is what is going on, it seems. We may find out a little more about that later on. But it's definitely a big cause of concern. And the big thing that happens right at the end of the episode is the National Guard comes, because obviously Griselda injuring her foot in the previous episode, you can see that it's very swollen. It could get infected. And there were plans to take her away, and they told Daniel Salazar that he could come with her, to be there for her while they were treating her. And the National Guard comes to get her, and Daniel goes to, leave with them. And they say, no, we only have two names. We can't take you. And one of those names is Nick. That they've identified that he is in need of care, because of his addiction. And they literally have to, take him out by force. They have to knock him out because he tries to run, and they just drag him out. And of course, Madison's, freaking out, very upset. And of course, I don't blame her. You really do have to wonder what is going on. A lot of questions that definitely need to be answered. Are they really helping these people, or are they taking them out and, killing them if they need to? Because, sometimes when it comes to survival, you do worry about that. Would it really be one for all for one, that no matter what your condition is, no matter who you are, we're going to band together and sort it out? Or do you determine that certain individuals are too weak to survive and live long anyways, so you just decide survival of the fittest? I really don't know. And I can understand why they would worry about that, but I think that there are some individuals who, do believe a little bit more in humanity and wanting to help people. Because it seems like Dr. Exner really felt that way, because not only did Griselda and Nick leave, but Liza went with them, because Liza's been treating people. And of course, we know that she's not actually a certified doctor, and Dr. Exner knows that, but she realizes that she is still able to help regardless. And really, in desperate times, you're going to need anybody. I mean, look at Herschel. I mean, Herschel was just a vet, and you have him treating people, actual people with different diseases and issues, so you're really going to take what you can get when the time is right, and, she literally tells Liza, like, look, if you really want to help people, if you really want to save lives, you need to come with us. So again, it really makes you wonder what's going on, and it makes you think about Grady Memorial a little bit, like when they were treating people, they would give them a certain amount of time, and if they pulled through, they pulled through, and if they didn't, they would, put them down to not waste resources. And you really have to wonder if that's also something going on. I didn't actually see the preview for the next episode because my DVR cut the clip like right as it was starting, so I'm going to have to watch that, and maybe I'll try to do a predictions video based on that for next week. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if there are any suggestions that you have for future videos that you would like to see, please do not be afraid to suggest them. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.